Welcome to the Blind Android Users channel. This is your source for everything Android, tutorials and demos, all from a blindness perspective. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more content like this.
Hello and welcome to episode 96 of the Blind Android Users Podcast. I'm Ed Green and I'm joined today by my co-hosts Warren Carr, Fee Dunn, John Dyer and Mariam Mosen. And we're coming to you on Saturday, the 8th of October, 2022. It's a busy episode this week. We have our usual announcement section. And then again, as last week, we have a double bill spotlight. First of all, we're joined by the developers of Tech Fre, another of the Swiss Army knife apps for the blind that lets you do OCR and all sorts of other cool stuff. Then we're going to talk about the Made by Google event and the 7 Series Pixels and the Google Watch. And we have the next in Mariam's demonstrations of commentary, and we're joined for his Android journey by Milosz Nowicki. Well, good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's well. Mariam, how are you?
I am great. I have had a pretty cool week. I have been working on some techie stuff, and yeah, the weather's starting to get colder and cooler, rain, and it's awesome.
Excellent. John Boy, what's going on?
I'm doing good. Didn't really have too busy of a week, just looking forward to the Pixel event and maybe placed some pre-orders. Stay tuned to find out about that. The weather's cooling off, so that's good.
Look forward to the Pixel event. Okay, fine. iPhoner, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm wondering what John's doing ordering Pixels. I thought he was the Samsung king. Yeah. Our weather's cooling off, but we've had a beautiful sunny day today. If you were out in the sun, it was nice, but as soon as the sun went in, you would go in as well. Today it was a bit chilly. Yeah, it's been a good week. Bit busy, but good.
Yeah. Warren, how are you?
I am doing well, and like John, I was pining away for the Google event, and it came like a dream. And sure, I'm waiting for that phone to come here. Of course, John and I are going to be unboxing stuff for our next episode, provided that these things are here before the 15th of October. And so I'm really looking forward to it. I'm still waiting, though, for that watch because I didn't want to spend an extra $200 that I didn't need to, since Google was giving me a $200 store credit. And it was supposed to be within 24 hours. So I put that thing in my saved for later. And I'm kind of checking, is the credit there? And so far, I haven't seen it. And I think I may just go ahead and check it out. And when I get the credit, then I'm going to return it and go rebuy it. I don't want to get that $200 credit and then never use it. And I don't know how long it is going to be good for. So I want to be wise in how I go about doing this. So I'm doing well.
I don't know if this is for anyone who's seen Harry Potter. There's leprechaun gold which disappears. This seems to be one step further in that the gold in the account credit never turns up. So it saves itself the bother of coming into existence in the first place. But hopefully Warren gets his credit and can buy his watch, and then he can fail to find it in his desk like he did with the other watch that he bought, which turned up months and months earlier, so. And he never found it. And Milosz, my friend, how are you?
I'm fine. I was just getting a lot of parcels this week because I was getting some phones for my collection. Yeah,
brilliant.
That's basically it.
I look forward to hearing about that. But do chip in with your thoughts on the rest of the episode. You're here for the My Android Journey section, but don't feel restricted to that. Please do come in on the other items. Now we turn to our announcements section. Warren, you wanted to talk about our milestone, didn't you?
For this week's announcements, basically what we have are a couple of things. Most importantly, the first one has to do with our Centurion celebration. And by the way, that comes up on November the 5th. You guys have been joining us for these celebrations, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys. It's a very important celebration for us as we reach our 100th anniversary of the Blind Android Users Podcast. So mark your calendars. As we get closer and closer, we'll send emails on our email group as well as on our Telegram group.
Since that's on bonfire night here in the UK, do you think that 100th celebration will go with a bang?
It absolutely will go with a bang. And you know what? I'm counting on you to find that bang sound for us. How about we do that?
I will find you. Yes, there'll be fireworks during that festival, that celebration.
It will
Yay!
definitely go with a bang if someone has one of those Samsung Notes from 3 or 4 years ago. That
I
kept
can get
exploding.
one, just also to celebrate my upcoming birthday, which is a week after that. So, we can have like a triple celebration that day.
Oh, yeah. Look forward to that.
Mm.
The only other announcement I had was I was going through my emails, and it struck me that there's a confluence between two guests that we've had on this year. In that, Kim and Chris Nova from Mystic Access are recording an audio tutorial on the Blind Shell Classic 2. You'll recall we interviewed Diane Ducharme last week. So if you're interested in that, you can pre-order it on the Mystic Access site, and I think it's $30. And they are hoping to release it next month. So go on there. And I think whether or not people register interest depends on whether they'll record it. So if you think you want audio documentation on the Blind Shell Classic 2, go on there. You prepay, but if they don't do it, they don't charge you. So might be worth doing if you think that audio documentation is useful. Link, obviously, in the show notes. Now we turn to the first of our spotlight items this week, and I'm absolutely delighted to say that we are joined by the developers of Tech Freedom, which, by the way, is a seriously cool app with a whole load of features. I called it a Swiss Army knife in the introduction just because the amount of stuff it can do. It's one of the sort of virtual assistancy OCR type apps, and we have a few people on from Tech Freedom this evening. I'll start with Arjen. Should I start with you and you perhaps introduce yourself and your colleagues?
Good morning, and I hope everyone is doing well. Myself, Aryan Kumar Andarpa. I'm from India, and today I am joined by two of my colleagues, Ms. Tanvi and Mr. Anuj as well as. So basically, my job is in Tech Freedom. I'm a lead software engineer of Tech Freedom. Basically, personally, I am an Android application developer. So my job is to lead the entire project as well as and lead the development team. And as well as I am the managing director of the parent company of Tech Freedom VI Developers. So I'm the managing director of Tech Freedom VI Developers as well as. And Ms. Tanvi is the director of marketing, and Mr. Anuj is the director of communications, and he is also responsible for the management of our finance as well as. So
Fantastic. I'm glad so many of you have spared the time to join us.
we are glad to be here. So I'd like to. I'm very thankful to entire Blind Android users team.
We're very glad that you've come on to join us today. So can I start with a fairly basic question? Can you tell us a little about what Tech Freedom, the app, actually is and what it does?
Tech Freedom is the app. I think I recommend to every blind user, you should have this app on your Android device. It's a multi-feature app. It means it saves your phone space by removing separate apps for the separate features. And it's a multi-features app, and it is designed having accessibility in the mind, and it is designed by visually challenged person. I'm a totally blind person, so it is designed by visually challenged person, so it is completely accessible with the Google Talkback. So it's a multi-feature app equipped with some AI features as well as like optical character recognition of your images and scanned PDFs, and as well as currency reader, which supports, as if for now it supports Indian currencies. You have to put your currencies in front of the camera, and it will recognize what the currency is. And we are also planning for US dollars and euros and pounds. So it is also equipped with some of the greatest features like My Player, which is the multimedia player, and like online notepad. So it is, in short, is it's a really good app for the blind person. It is designed having accessibility into mind.
So someone might be asking, what really led you guys to developing this app? Were you kind of not satisfied with some of the solutions we have? Or take us through the story behind the creation, what led you guys to the idea of coming up with this all-inclusive app as Tech Freedom?
Surely. Basically, it is around 2016 when in India I wanted to learn development, and due to my visual disability, I couldn't make into the college, and I can't learn development. And that day, I decided that the thing which I faced, I will never let anybody face it. So since then, I was working on YouTube. From 2017, I was working on YouTube, and my I just wanted to help our visually impaired community. And it was a warm afternoon, the famous Indian summer in 2019. It was the 28th of May 2019. At that day, we found the project Tech Freedom, and our motive was to just provide a multi-feature app. We just wanted to provide some OCR technologies to our users as well, as because at that time and today's world as well as many OCR apps are available in the market, but that all are paid. And everyone's financial situation is not the same to buy that expensive things. Like if it's around $30 in India, it is kind of 3,000 rupees, about 2,500 rupees. So everybody is not able to pay that much of amount, like on the particular app everybody is not able to pay. So that's why we wanted the app which is totally accessible, designed by visually impaired, and it is also a cost-free and ads-free app, because ads are always hurts visually challenged. Like in my personal experience, ads hurts me as well as. So ads disturb our user experience as well as. So that's why we wanted to have ads-free and cost-free app, and this basic thing led us to development of this app.
Arian, something you mentioned that really caught my attention is the fact that you actually picked up this on your own. It's not something that you were doing for a school project, as you didn't go to school or something like that. And to me, that is monumental. It's just huge because it tells me that, yes, it is possible for someone to start learning something on their own. And most especially, the way that you decided to do yours is to help your other blind people. And so I think this is really good that you are able to do that. And I'm really proud of you for doing that. And I want to say thank you for taking such a huge step forward and helping all of us with some of these solutions that we need as blind people. Thank you. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you so much
Yeah,
for your kind words.
I totally agree with Warren on that. That's such an inspiring story because when you do a project on your own, it's always like a great thing. But let me ask you though, because you mentioned the fact that you are the lead software developer for this app, so you're the one who works on coding. So as a blind person, what are because some people who are listening to us might wonder, what are the complexities, the complications that you might face, especially when programming things? Because I know for a fact that people, even sighted programmers, face so many challenges to code for blind people because they use coding, they use graphics. It makes the process a little bit easier. So for you, as a blind person who does coding and programming, what are the challenges that you've faced so far?
Um, I think biggest challenges we faced during the development period is you have already mentioned your questions. It is the graphics because see, as a blind programmer, I can code very well and I can design the backend. If somebody is coming from the technical background, they may know, they may clearly understand my terminology. That I can design backend very well. I can develop a business logic, but when it comes to UI designing or user interface designing, as a totally blind person, our vision and our capacity is limited to by some some basic stuff. Because if I wanted to develop a very interactive and animation user interface with animation, I may not be able to do it without getting help from the sighted person. So basic thing which we faced is just the first thing which we faced is this particular graphics things. Nextly, not that much thing we faced the challenges, but yeah, it was like when we were developing some artificial intelligence things, like especially when we are developing cache reader. It was very very tough because we had to design our own neural network from very very scratch. And as I mentioned earlier, that I'm not coming from any highly tech university, because I haven't get admission there. So that's why it was quite challenging for me as well, as because I have to start the learn. I have to basically, firstly I have to learn that how artificial intelligence works, and I had to learn that firstly. So it was quite challenging, but I should mention here, it is to be very honest, my entire team is always here to support me, and my family as well, as because they helps me a lot while I was in my learning period. Because I have started my development journey since I was 13 years old, and I just wanted to learn development, and there is nobody at that time. There was nobody who can teach me, so they took stands for me as well. So credit goes to my families and my colleagues.
What struck me about your app, and you touched on it as well, is just the number of features it has. Did you sort of see it as a blindness BI super app almost, just as Clap or Tatter or Troop is a super app in kind of the mainstream? Is that what you hope, that people don't have to install multiple apps and they can just have one app to do a whole bunch of things?
Yeah, we initially we planned that way, and we are also working on achieve this thing, because we wanted our user. Initially, we wanted our user, and as if for now, we want our user not to have so many apps on their device, and as well as on the other hand, we also like to restrict the app size of ours as well, as so that it won't get so much space on device. And most of users has enough space, like about 95%, 96% users has enough space on their device. But we should also think about those 4 or 5% users, those who don't have that much of space on their device. So having this thing into mind, as well as we are keeping ourselves as much smaller as we can. So yeah, it's and we are also working on some new features as if for now. We are also we are also planning to dive into video editor and audio editor stuff, and we are also planning to do it on our Tech Freedom itself, so that user don't need to especially when you come when it comes to the video editing, it is very 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 challenging for the person with visual disability to edit a video. So we are also working on that thing as well. As
Yeah,
That would be
that's
seriously cool.
yeah, I agree with you, Ed. And I think because I've always said that, caring about mid-range phones can be really awesome, because not everyone, yes, how phones are getting much smarter, much cooler, and you have like 256, 512, 1 terabyte even of space. But also there are people who use mid-range phones that don't have the same features or specs that can, um, like use those high quality apps that require all these like high RAM, these like huge space. Like for instance, Facebook app is like 1 gigabytes. That's just crazy. Like especially for there's some people out there who still use like a 16 gigs of space. So I definitely appreciate that. So I have a question regarding, because you mentioned PDF scanning and OCR. What languages does the app support so far?
App currently supports 140 plus languages. It also includes the handwritten text as well as you can also have the handwritten text support, and all the most spoken languages in the world are supported, and like English, French, each and every variant of like Chinese, and in terms of Indian languages, we have a huge support of Indian languages as well as uh, starting from A to Z. As you know that India has a lot of languages here, so that's why we are also supporting many Indian languages as well as. So yeah, currently we are supporting 140 plus languages.
So is Arabic supported then?
Yeah, Arabic is supported.
That's awesome. Okay.
One thing I did notice when I was playing a PDF and I had the TTS set to the same TTS as TalkBack. If I touched the screen to try and interrupt it, TalkBack couldn't take back control of the TTS, and it was quite difficult to stop the Tech Freedom app from reading unless you happen to remember where the play pause button was. I just wondered whether you were thinking of allowing TalkBack to take back control of the TTS, because that might make navigation a little bit easier.
Yeah. Basically, I guess you have also reported the same thing on email, on our support email as well as
That's right.
we. Yeah, we had your email. So basically, we are working on that thing because when you open the Tech Freedom, uh, in day to day life we have many apps, and as the rise of Android and processor, users are having many apps without clearing their recent apps activities. So it is quite challenging because Tech Freedom is also using some microphone for voice recorder feature. We are also using TTS. So we decided to have the exclusive controls of all the required things which our app needs when app gets open. So we are also working on this, and in our coming up version, which is version 3.5.9, you will get it fixed.
That's fantastic. And I wonder if I could just turn to Tanvi and Anuj, just to hear from you and how you both got involved. Tanvi, can I ask you first?
Okay, so good evening, everyone. My name is Tanvi Trivedi. I'm also from India and I work with VR developers. So I'm working with VID since I think 2 years or maybe 1.5 years. So actually, we are friends. Me, Aryan, we are friends. So he introduced me to Tech Freedom. He told me about this, and then I told him, okay, I can also join your team. So basically, I'm not a very technical person, I must say. Um, but I wanted to work with VID, and he gave me an opportunity. Uh, so he gave me this marketing department. So I work there. I manage all the marketing, article, and all this content kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a very nice experience to work with VID because there is a contentment that okay, we are delivering something to our community. So self satisfaction kind of thing. So yeah, thank you, Aryan. Thank you, VID, for having me there.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a key thing, isn't it? Working on something you believe in and you know is going to make a difference. And Anuj, how about you?
Hello, hi. I am great, and how are you all? Firstly, Thank you so much to Blind Android users team to invite us here and giving us to this special opportunity to share our app with the community, especially with the blind people.
No, we're delighted you could spare the time. So how did you get involved with VI developers and tech freedom?
Yeah, actually, I had joined since VID from last 1.5 years. I was joined as a student in VID as a web developer. I was learned web development from the VID first. After that, Aryan sir approached me to join VID as a development team. After that, I decided to join VID as a web developer. I work on the many project, but after that, we started work with the Android project. But I am not an Android developer. Mostly, I am handling currently communication and finance department. So I try to communicate with the community and different people to approach to install our app and use our app. And as well as I am a tester of Tech Freedom app. I try to find out the errors and try to suggest the new features and deciding to UI how we can make better this application.
And it's amazing you joined it as a student and decided to stay. So obviously very committed to the project as well. I think that's fantastic.
May I ask something? If it's this is a free app, is that right? So if it's free, how do we know it's not going to suddenly disappear? Because sometimes free apps, they're not viable anymore. So I'm just interested in that because some apps, you have to pay a subscription each month or something, or you just pay when you buy the app. And I just wonder how that works. If you'd rather not answer, then fair enough. But I just wondered. It's wonderful that it's free.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but I just wondered how
No,
that
no.
works when you have to people have to have something to live on, and I just wondered how that works.
Okay. Okay. Firstly, as a founder of VI Developers and Tech Freedom, in my personal life, I'm really against to proprietorship because, it is really harmful for the society that few of the people of the society only knows the coding, and few of the society is only few developers only knows the coding how this thing works. And if you say that privacy is your privacy is our responsibility, but how people will believe on you. So I'm totally against the proprietorship stuff because I'm a huge supporter of open source stuff and free stuff, because free things can give you more than proprietor things. I believe this thing personally. So uh, basically about the free thing, it doesn't mean that Tech Freedom is free. Then we are not we are not costing by anything, because we have to pay for the servers, we have to pay for the APIs, and we also have to pay for the other stuff for our in-house expenses as well as. And so basically we are currently rely on the community funds, because we urge the community, because we as a developer we put our time, we put our efforts into development. So we ask community that those who are able to donate, we are requesting everybody that if you are able to donate, you are requested to do so, because you are not just donating your money, you are helping your community as well as. And few of our donors are great. They are always helping us. So this app is totally rely on the donation. So, and we are working more than 3 years So that's the thing, because anybody don't knows the future, like how things works, because sometimes after the COVID-19, whole IT world has fluctuated. So but yeah, somehow we have managed, and yeah, we are committed to do our work free of cost, as long as we can, because we don't want our efforts, we don't want to waste our efforts too, because we are developing our app since 3 years. So that's the main thing.
That's wonderful. So it's a donation model then. So that's how you. Yeah, that's. I mean, our podcast is kind of a bit like that as well. So, but yeah, I think the developer hours are probably rather more than we put in. But yeah, that's amazing, and it's so wonderful to hear you talking about the community as a whole, and giving something back, and yeah, and about how good if you use the app and you like it, to donate. That's and even I think sometimes people think, oh, there's no point in me donating, I can only afford $5 or something. But actually, if a few people did that, you could get to $30 or 50, or so yeah, it's a great way of doing it. If it works, that's fantastic. And it often does. I think there are other blindness projects that do that and are still going strong, aren't there? So brilliant.
I think the other thing as well, it's possibly an urban myth that paid for apps survive longer than free apps. The history of Windows screen readers is littered of the carcasses of paid for apps that don't exist anymore. Window Eyes, automatic screen access for Windows, Window Bridge, Outspoken, ProTalk 32. Screen Power, Virgo, all of those are all over $500. WinVision, and everyone paid $100, and guess what? They don't exist anymore. So yeah, I mean,
well, that's happened to phone screen readers too, hasn't it?
Talks. Yeah.
Remember HAL for Windows phones, and
yeah, and Mobile Speak.
Yeah, at least you got a good use out of them though before they, But yeah, and the phones, yeah, for as long as the phones were, but I mean, some of the Windows ones, that wasn't good.
They were expensive, and
They really
NVDA still going. They were, and
they NVDA run on a donation model, don't they?
Yeah,
and it seems
and
to work really.
From Mozilla, I think.
Oh, okay, and it seems to go work really well that way. So that's fantastic. People obviously like it, so they give some money. So that's brilliant.
Yeah, and I often tell to people, if you buy an app for $30 per annum, rather than buying that app, put your $30 into a free project, and trust me, your $30 helps helps a lot. Since rather than buying that particular proprietor's thing, because when you donate into open source project or free project, your entire donation will work as a boost the power of the project. So that's the thing, and NVDA is the biggest example of open source and free softwares. How NVDA is working, and all the tech giants like Google also using this to evaluate the accessibility of their project as well as.
I really like your vision, guys, and you guys are young, and the young lady there, you are doing wonderful. Annette, you're also doing wonderful. I'm so thankful to you guys that you're able to actually dedicate your time to doing this. And I encourage you guys out there, anyone listening, even if it's just $1, people often think that, I don't have enough, and probably I wish I had $20. I wish I had $10. But frankly, if there's a whole lot of us that donate even just $1, these guys would have more power. And so I encourage people to give whatever little it is that you have. It doesn't have to be $5. It doesn't have to be 10. Whatever you have, it all adds up. And let's all be people that support what is good for all of us. Thank you so much.
And how do we do that, Aryan? Can we donate in the app, or do we have to do it somewhere else, or how do we donate if we want to?
I'll share the info of donation on the email. I'll email you. It is via PayPal. So basically, we haven't integrated into our app itself, basically. But I'll send you the PayPal details on the email, on the official email address of Blind Android User.
Brilliant.
I
And it's-
So
think it will
then
be
it can be in
good.
the show notes. Then you can put it in
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, but it will be good. I know you guys may not want to do this, but I think it would be maybe integrated into the app, maybe like toward the bottom or wherever, if you don't want it to be obvious. But I think because not everybody's going to be able to read the show notes, or not everybody is going to be able to listen to the Blind Android Users podcast.
why not?
I think it will be a
Why
Yeah.
aren't they listening to us? Absolutely
we are-
outrageous.
Yeah.
We are currently working on the donators page where we will integrate the PayPal APIs directly. So we are currently working on that, because for this we have to take the many, in my knowledge, we have to take many, approvals from the PayPal. I guess PayPal, because PayPal is not allowing individual user to integrate the APIs, I guess. So that's why.
I
Yeah.
see.
So it's in progress then.
Yeah.
What's really nice as well with a free app is people listening to this might say, oh, well, before I donate to something, I want to try it first. Well, if it's free, you can. And then if they really like it, then they can donate. And there's no, they could donate next week, or they could donate next month. I think that's really nice. There's no, oh, if you don't donate by this time, the app's going to stop working, or that's really, I really like the way you've done that, because you'll get donations from people who really enjoy the app. That will just naturally happen, I'm sure. Especially, if they want new features and stuff, they'll want to keep, or even if they're just enjoying what they've got, but knowing about phone updates that can change the way apps work, sometimes they'll, if people love an app, they'll help. And I think that's a great way of doing things. And I'm glad I asked the question, because then that makes people aware who are listening and who maybe already use the app, that, oh, maybe I haven't donated yet, and actually that would be good, because I've been using it for a while now and it's helped me a lot.
Yeah, many people were advising me, as a few of my friends, and they were advising me to put ads in an app, but we were very clear on this particular thing, that we will not give ads into our app at any cost, because ads disturb the user experience. And if we are working for visually impaired community, and if we knew that this is going to disturb others, then why should we do it for a few dollars? Because initially, when we start this project, we have to pay from our pockets, because as you can understand, when we all are students, and initially we were students, and we were the group of the students, so we have to pay from our pocket. But we were very clear not to put ads in our app. So it is my humble request to everybody, if you like the app, every single dollar is meant a lot. So you are requested to donate. And one more thing, it's my humble request to everybody, that please share our app with others, so that everybody can get benefited from that and from this. So if more people will use, we also get motivation to develop more useful features. So yeah.
Excellent. My only other question was, do VI developers have any other apps, or is it exclusively Tech Freedom? Are there other things we should go have a look at?
No. We are teaching programming online. Like, we are teaching web development, we are teaching Java, we are teaching Android application development, we are also teaching Kotlin and all those stuff. So we are in the name of VIG Academy, we are running this stuff. and for entertainment purpose, because we just wanted to cover each and every stream. So for the entertainment purpose, we have also produced an audio movie in Hindi.
And your classes, are they in Hindi or English?
It's up to our users. Mostly it is in Hindi, because we are having users, we are having students from India.
Yeah.
But if someone wants in English, we are also comfortable with that as well.
Brilliant. And presumably they're aimed at the blind as well, are they? Your VID classes?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Can I just thank you for not using adverts, because they really are annoying in some apps, especially when they cover up the whole page and you're thinking, how do I get rid of this? How do I close this? And on some apps it's not so difficult, but on other apps it is a real pain. So thank you for that decision, because I know it means you get less money, but it's going to make the app so much nicer and easier to use. So another good reason for people to donate, just for the team being so aware and prioritizing user experience over some dollars. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your kind words. We need users like you and like the whole blind users team, because users like you can understand for what we are working, and for what we are contributing our efforts. So thank you so much for your kind words, and your entire team is really helpful.
We do want to thank you guys for coming on. We know it's late where you are there in India, and for you to actually sacrifice some of your sleeping time to be on here is just amazing, to say the least. And so we're thankful that you stopped by to chat with us. And would you, at some point, be willing to come back again, young people, if we need to have you come back again, and maybe some new developments with the app? Would you be willing to come back again down the road and chat with the blind users
Sure.
crew?
Yeah, sure.
Great.
Because I have enjoyed a lot here. So yeah, sure, we will come back
Yeah.
whenever you require us. Please ask us, and I will also email you when new things are coming up into our app. I will also let you know by email.
Brilliant.
And then, you, all three of you, if you can, be sure to attend our celebration coming up, to give Austin there a little helping hand from India, part of cheering him up, because we're having that thing coming up on November the
Sure.
5th,
We
the
will.
same
We will.
time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Renard, to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, entire the blind Android users team, because it means a lot. And as I mentioned before, I have enjoyed here. Also, my teammates were also enjoyed here. So it's really cool stuff, and we all enjoyed here. So thank you so much. You all are nice, very nice, and it's nice to meet you guys.
You
It was a
too.
pleasure.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you, guys.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And now we turn to our second spotlight section this week, and it's the Made by Google event earlier in the week, in which we learnt about the announcement of the Google Pixel 7 series and the Google Pixel Watch. Mariam, it's that time of year again, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's when Warren gets his hopes up and all that and all the dreams and makes the pre-orders. It's the best time of year for Warren. It's like celebration day.
Yeah, and everyone else is a bit bored, aren't they?
Exactly.
We shouldn't criticize what we don't understand, as I believe Bob Dylan said in The Times We Are Changing. So let's understand it, and then we can criticize it. Warren, what have we got?
So here we are talking about the Google or Made by Google event, something that we have been pining away for, and all those leaks and rumor mills and whatever. And finally, it dawned on us and there was the Google event. I tell you, I was I was up early because I had to go to do some work, and then of course, it was at 7 a.m. So I was kind of in between, traveling to the workplace and all of that. But then I had, my phone tuned to it with my headset, and I was able to listen to that. And as soon as I got to my destination, I transitioned to the computer while working on stuff and constantly refreshing that Google Store page because I was kind of being reminiscent of what happened back last year when I, after added the 512 gig of pixel to my card, I went to check out and I got that dreaded 505 error or whatever that thing was, out of stock. And so I was crossing my fingers, and midway, even before the uh, the thing came to a close, I think it was Brian, what's his name, or Ryan, one of the guys from Pixel that was talking about it. I think it was during his speech that after refreshing, then because prior to that, when I was refreshing, all I could see, the first item was the Pixel 6a. And when I refresh again, I see Pixel 7. I'm like, what in the world just happened? So I quickly clicked on that and was able to, pre-order that. But so the whole idea here we are, and some of the things that excites me, or some of the things that excite me about it all, the first thing has to do with that Titan M2. And so basically, this is the same technology that protects, Google Cloud data centers and things like that. And this is also the same security that a lot of the banks and government sites use. So having that on our phone means a lot to me, because the more protection, the more privacy, the more being private or your stuff is being protected is good. And number two is that protected computing that they talked about a lot. And this, focuses on three key areas. And I hope my memory serves me right. But so minimizing the data, footprint. This is where it shrinks the amount of personal identifiable data that goes out from your device. So kind of things are anonymized or whatever, and things like that. And then, that de-identifying data, meaning data is not linked to its user. Because a lot of times when I use something, of course, when we use something from our phones, it identifies us, whether you're coming from the UK, you're coming from the United States, you're coming from Egypt or India or wherever in Africa, even in Mongolia. I love my Mongolian ministers there on the Mongolian realm. Let's not forget those guys. So we don't want someone to be identifying us like that. It's not good. And so to see this as part of the package, to me, it means a lot. And then the other one has to do with the restricting access to one's data uh, with end-to-end encryption. I think that is really neat. And this will result in things like, live translate. So if I'm translating something live, it's not gonna identify me, and also things like spam detection and messages, including things like, smart replies, which we know. So all these things are gonna be totally done on my device, and anything from the internet, it's also gonna be kind of minimized. I mean, that data access is going to be minimized, because we all know everyone used to complain about Google. The complaint is that, Google sees a lot of our data. Google does a lot of this and that with our data. I am so glad to see Google taking on a different path regarding these things. And probably we may have the European GDPR or whatever to thank for Because if you're going to operate in those countries, you got to abide by those rules of those countries. And so we're seeing the fruits of this European thing coming into fruition here. And I'm excited about these new pathways that Google is taking.
Yeah, and they also mentioned a VPN by Google One that they're going to be providing for like actual internet traffic on these Pixel 7 devices later this year. So that's going to be nice to have. And they even claim that all the data will, like Google can't even track the data even if you're using that VPN, but it's a free option that you'll have. So that's actually a big deal, I think.
Okay, if you're into security, that's great. I'm not excited. Can you excite me about the Pixel 7? Why are you ordering it? What's so great about the Pixel 7? If you're sales staff and you want me to buy one, why would I buy one? What would I notice that's different to use this thing? Why would I bother if I've already got a very good Samsung phone, for example?
If you have gotten a Samsung phone, and if you are invested into the Samsung ecosystem, probably you could stay with your Samsung phone. However, the whole idea of this googly thing is the fact that now all these devices are going to be able to work together, whether be it the watch or be it your home display. The one part that they talked about, which is also an exciting part of the whole deal, is that these things now will seamlessly, interact with each other. You don't have to say, "Hey, I need to pull the home app on my phone in order to do this." If you have that watch on your wrist, you can do that as well. And so it's part of the total seamless integration that makes it all come together. And this is the first time that we're seeing such tight integration coming from Google. And I, for one, am liking that whole idea. And one of the reasons why one should get these things to have things be in sync with each other. Just imagine.
We've had that for ages, just not with Google. So I'm not very excited yet. You haven't won this game yet. You haven't excited me, I'm afraid.
Which one have you had?
I
it
don't
this
think
way?
you're Google's target audience. I don't think they're trying to compete with Samsung
No.
or OnePlus. They're happy if you're on Android. And to be honest,
You mean she's
they're
not a
even
child and doesn't need a Fisher Price toy? No, I agree with that.
exactly.
Yeah, like it's not. It's an incremental, boring phone. There's nothing interesting.
There's a lot of camera improvements, which for a lot of blind people doesn't mean
I don't care.
anything. But
Yeah.
No, because
like I
what
said,
blind people
not
think.
the target audience.
No, what blind people think is that either OCR gets better the higher the camera is. What the real situation is that you need a minimum floor for that. So as long as you meet that minimum floor, you'll scan text.
The voice dictation, Google Assistant works much better on it.
Better
just
than
Pixel
what,
things.
on the 6?
Pixel things are what's gonna bring you over. If you're using a Pixel 6 Pro, I don't know that. Besides Warren, I don't know that you're gonna want to upgrade.
No, basically, Google phones pixelate, don't they? That's the thing. They're pixelating. They're not very good.
So, John, why are you ordering one?
Yeah, John.
Because I always have to have the newest phone.
So it's not. You're not particularly excited. It's just a new toy. Is that basically the reason?
I'm gonna
Fair enough.
sell or trade in my Pixel 6 that I have and upgrade.
Oh, I see. Yeah. But what will it do better apart from dictation that would justify all that money?
There's the frame thing, isn't there? I don't know if that's a 7 feature or going to be rolled out generally. Where
I think you can ask that question about any phone these days. Is like, what does this do? I think for at least 5 years now, like no phone has come out and done something mind blowing that you couldn't do with the previous phone. I mean, we've reached peak phone a while ago.
Exactly. And so that whole question is absolutely meaningless, because if we're to use that maxim,
Oh,
then no
careful,
one would be
Warren.
buying
Storm
it. No, no, no.
Fiona.
Let me finish. If we were to go by that, frankly, we would have stopped buying phones back in 2017
No, because
because
people.
no, it's true.
It's
It's
No,
true
not
because
like
it's
it's eight
not.
hundred and $850
the
or pounds anyway. It's
the
not
whole
meaningless.
the
Why
whole
should you buy it? Is a reasonable question.
the
I
whole
think.
thing is, why would I be buying a new Samsung, 2022, when the S21 does the very same exact thing? Or why would I be, wanting to buy the 2023 Samsung that's coming out when the S22 does the same thing? If we were to ask that question, no one would be buying any device. But then, as Google, as we know it with Pixel phones, some of these things are exclusives, and you're not going to get some of these features on other phones besides the
Okay,
Pixel
so that's
7
what I
until
want to know then.
later
What's the
on.
Pixel 7 going to do that's new then? That's
That's
what I want to know.
that's what we've been talking about all
Oh, the
this time.
VPN and
Like,
things.
and
Yeah.
then also the guided photography that we talked in Ed mentioned, that's all going to be exclusive on the Pixel 7. I do
Now that
believe that
sounds
these things
exciting.
will trickle down to other Pixel phones, and my hope is not that this would only trickle down to other Pixel phones, but frankly, it would be a good thing to see this come to any phone running Android, because we have blind people using different brands out there, and if we care about blind people, I think we should find a way to kind of trickle this thing down to every Android phone there that is capable of doing this type of thing. So I'm excited about it, and like we already don't have it, so we can't prejudge something that we don't have. And so until we have it and put it through its paces, or everything that we say, or maybe, this is not bad, that's all speculative, and I don't operate in that realm.
Yes, and I also let me add on. I also want to add on your point, Warren, that actually sometimes there could be some features that, well, the company might not, promote whatever, which is actually dumb of them. But when you get the phone, you might see that there's a couple new things that you didn't notice. But at the same time, like, I feel like the phones that are like close into series, like probably the S21, S22, they don't have much difference. Like you won't really notice anything. While on the other hand, if you got the S20 and then got the S22, then you probably would notice the difference. However, again, there's some like probably improvements, bug fixes, whatever, the processor, all that, all that. All that shit and all that. So basically,
The other thing is, I mean, I do think asking why would I buy that phone is a legitimate question, because you might say an answer because if you've got, for example, a Pixel 4, this is going to be a huge upgrade, for instance. Or when I bought my Samsung Galaxy S20 FE, I bought that because I remember reading when the S10 came out and people were saying, if you've got an S9, which I had at the time and still have, it's probably not worth upgrading to the S10. But if you've got an S7 or an S8, it probably is. So when the S20 came out, they said, for S8 and S9 people, this is probably a worthwhile upgrade now because it's got so many more improvements, and it has. And the other thing is that because it's newer, I can still get Android updates. So there are, even if it's not that terribly exciting, there are good reasons to upgrade if you have an older phone.
Yeah,
It can be a very good reason.
That's a good point. They're not trying to sell these phones to people with S22s, It's people who are ready for a new phone, but want to know, should I get the Pixel or should I get a Samsung or should I get an iPhone? And the fact that the Pixel 7 starts at $600, whereas the iPhone and the Galaxy phones start at $800, that's a huge chunk of change right there. And you're still getting a flagship phone with a lot of good features that are on par with those phones.
Do you get Pixel Buds with the phone, or do you have to buy those separately?
Well,
or do we not know?
If you pre-order right now, they have a deal where if you get the Pixel 7, you'll get a $100 gift card. for the Google Store. If you get the Pixel 7 Pro, you'll get a $200 gift card. So you could spend that on Pixel Buds if you wanted to, or anything else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we should also
Another
keep
thing is that, this new Tensor 2 G2 brings better improvements to areas like power consumption during activities like uh, speech recognition, video streaming, music and speech translation services. And then it also brings improvements to calling. And that's one thing they talked about, so voice assistant photography and the most secure, Pixel phone ever, in the sense that these things are going to have a better access to this. Call clarity is something they're talking about. I know a lot of people don't care about calls, but a lot of blind people like to make calls. So I'm looking forward to seeing this thing come to fruition, because I want to compare it with what we already have and see how clear those calls are going to be as Google counts it to be.
And one
Well,
good thing,
good battery life is always exciting, especially if you've got a really old rubbishy phone and the battery's got really bad. Then having a new phone with a great battery, that's going to be exciting.
Yep.
Exactly.
And
Bad battery means no bueno.
and one thing the Pixel 7 series does have that the Pixel 6 series didn't have is face unlock. So that might interest a lot of people, considering that was one of the major complaints, with sighted users and blind users alike, is the fingerprint sensor in the Pixel 6 series. Now, they have improved the fingerprint sensor, like it's a newer iteration of the hardware, so it could be a better fingerprint sensor. In fact, I expect it to be better, but if that's just not your thing, they have face unlock now.
That would be good, especially improving the fingerprint sensor, because if you buy an Apple phone, you only get one or the other. If you get one of the SE ones, which aren't the flagship ones, you get the fingerprint sensor. But for Apple, if you want the flagship phones, you have to use Face ID. And I don't want to. I like my phone to give me the choice.
Mhm.
And Google's do that, Samsung's do that. Basically, everybody else seems to do that now, apart from Apple. So they
Even
seem to be
really
shooting.
budget Android phones, or Nokia does.
Yeah,
on their
they
very
seem to
cheap
be
handsets.
shooting themselves in the foot with there, really, don't they, Apple? But oh well, we can just watch and laugh.
I do want to mention, though, that the face unlock will not be something that one could use with, say, your banking. You'll have to either use that fingerprint or your PIN for those type of transactions. However, I think that what people were kind of upset about is the fact that when I shut off the screen and then when I go to use the fingerprint, sometimes it's not very fast, or sometimes it says not recognized or whatever. And to have this face unlock, I think will solve a lot of that problem, like John had said, because you have both there, as you guys have indicated. And so if I want to quickly unlock my phone, I could just use that face unlock as to, trying to find where that fingerprint reader is. So I think Google made a mistake in the Pixel 6 series by not including that face unlock, even though this is using your front-facing camera to do the job, as to the type of face unlock which we had on the Pixel 4, something we've never had on an Android phone, is totally different. And so hence the reason this one would just be good for unlocking the phone, but not necessarily for transactions.
Yeah, I think it's good that you have to use your finger for payments, for example, because I always worry that otherwise you could have someone pick up your phone, point it at your face, and pay for their shopping, and then put your phone back, walk away. And you, as a blind person, you wouldn't even realise until later when your phone notified you the payment had gone. I mean,
Yeah.
nasty people might steal the phone as well, of course.
Yeah, can
But
you imagine? Like
Yeah,
you
and
give
that's
someone your phone to look at something, and then
So
oh
I
my god, you pay for it.
yeah, I prefer fingerprint because if someone steals my phone, and I haven't touched it and done the fingerprint, they're not getting anything off that phone. So it sort of disincentivizes stealing a phone then, because there's no point if they can't use it.
Yeah, and that's how it is on Samsung phones too. Even if you have Face Unlock enabled, it will only unlock your phone. You still have to use your fingerprint, or if you don't have a fingerprint, it'll ask for your PIN, like if you're making payments or something.
I believe on Apple you can use Face ID for bank payments.
Yeah, that's true.
but
because
that's because of the security of the different Face IDs. So
Yeah.
so Apple.
No,
Samsung.
no, I don't like it.
But it is more secure on Apple than it is on Android.
But this is why, because Apple has depth mapping because of the sensors they're using. It's not a regular camera, so
They're not using a camera.
their concern is like not holding it up to a blind person and them not knowing. Their concern is holding up a picture of the person and tricking it that way. Because if there's depth mapping that you're getting from rather than just an image, then it knows this is just a flat surface that I'm looking at. I'm not going to unlock right now.
And
what if
this
you've
is
got a
why,
really flat, thin face, like Aston as a photo? What if you got
Then you-
squashed?
well, but this is why, this is why the Pixel 4 is the only one that is on par with what Apple has. And that was based on that solely that, people didn't, care about because it was supposed to do other things that was not very good. But when it comes to that Face Unlock, because that's the only thing that you have on that Pixel 4, and therefore it's the same kind of idea that you have on the Apple Face Unlock. And so until we have that, the payment will be authenticated by either that fingerprint reader or that PIN.
I like that. I like having the choice.
I like that too.
So was there also a watch? Did they mention a watch in the event? Trying to recall.
Yeah, of course, both you and I. So, so we're talking about the watch, John, and I think we kind of got carried by the phone because there's a big boy in the room. Now, the only thing I didn't like with the Google is the pricing. I think it's a little bit more expensive when you compare it to the competition out there. For example, Samsung's offering this year starts at $280 to Google's starting point at $349, $350. It's a little bit above the competition. And my only concern, I mean, I got the $400 one, that's the LTE version. But then my concern is I don't like little girly phones. And this thing, I think is like, is it like 41 millimeter?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm kind of a little bit queasy about that.
I was going to ask you about that because I remember that watch you had sitting on your desk for a month.
Gave it to my wife.
When you finally put it on, you were like, "This is a girly watch."
Exactly.
And that was a 40 millimeter. So
that was a 40 millimeter. So this one is just a millimeter. And so here I am. I'm going to be running around with a girl looking phone, and I'm not happy about that. I'll tell you that.
I think you need to embrace your feminine side, Warren.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is all El Macho. El Macho.
but you drink the Google Kool-Aid, so once you get that thing on your wrist, you're going to be like, this is absolutely beautiful. That 1 millimeter really makes a difference.
Thank you, John. I'm going to try to hypnotize myself.
Well, some men, every millimeter makes the difference.
Exactly. But I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait to, John, if you get yours before mine, you unbox it, because I know mine is probably going to be delayed because I don't want to, I want to save that $200, because there's no need for me to buy it and then try to return it or whatever and then go buy it again. So, but
where are you getting this gift card from?
No, it's not a gift
from
card.
Buying the watch?
It's a store credit. If you buy the phone from Google, if you buy the Pro, like the one I got, the 512 gig version, I got a $200, in-store credit that you can only use on the Google store, and that's why I want to use that.
When you bought your last phone, that was that.
No, the phone he pre-ordered now.
The one I pre-ordered.
So I think they're waiting for it to ship or to be delivered or something
But
before they just
presumably
like
you
send
can't.
him the
If you
store
yeah,
credit.
but if you return that phone, you don't get to keep the
No,
Well,
I'm not
they
talking
won't
$200.
about
give you the.
no, I'm not talking about returning the phone, but what I'm saying is that I could still go ahead and check out the watch that I have saved in my saved for later, which would be charging me for $400. And then when I get the $200 in-store credit for the phone that I pre-ordered, then I could return that watch and then reorder it and apply the
I see. So
$200
the
in-store
credits,
credit.
the credit was with the phone, not the
Yes,
watch.
yeah,
That's
it's with the phone, but
He
it's
just
not
hasn't
yet
gotten
there.
it yet because he doesn't
Yes.
have the phone yet. Yeah.
Either way, yours
Ah.
will arrive first, John, because Warren's will be lost in his desk for months. So.
Yeah,
It's-
like next.
It's not.
next
It's not
year.
about the arrival date. It's about when you
No,
actually
it's about
open
the
it.
Warren finding it date.
Next
But
year,
this time I'm
it'll
gonna
be like,
be
oh,
up
happy.
on
We'll be
Ed.
like, oh, happy 2023. Have you found your new phone yet?
Listen here. Listen here. I am looking at this thing like a hawk. I'm gonna keep an eye
Mhm.
on when these things arrive. And also I got some other stuff from Google that I want to unbox for the podcast, like the new Chromecast Google TV. I want to, do an unboxing of that and comparing it to the 2020. And so I'm looking for, I think that one would be here on Monday or something. So I'm keeping my eye open for all these things
Ah,
coming.
Mhm.
Did have Google announced anything new in terms of the they don't call them Google Home speakers anymore, do they? What do they call them now? Nest.
They did not, but the thing they did announce is the Pixel tablet, which one of the big features of it. Now they didn't mention if it comes included or if you have to buy it separately, but the tablet has a speaker dock that you sit it on to charge it, so that it acts as a Nest Hub while it's docked. But then you can also pick it up, and it will be fully charged, and you can use it as a tablet.
that is so not coming with it. That is so a paid
Yeah.
for extra.
If
I
I had to
agree,
bet
Ed.
on
I
it,
don't
I
think
would.
Google is going to let people
Absolutely
have
no
it.
chance.
In fact, by not mentioning it, they basically confirmed that it's not included.
Exactly.
Also,
Yeah.
do we think the Google tablet will be a bitter pill to swallow?
Well, we'll see what it looks like, because, like I said, though, sometimes
Yeah, but Warren, a
so-
bitter pill.
it's so hard to
tablet?
kind of prejudge something that you don't have. And another thing that Google rolled out that actually they rolled out before the 6 was that the Wi-Fi, the new mesh systems, they're like $199, or you can get 2 for how much? I think they have it discounted.
One is $199, 2
Yeah.
is $299, and 3 is $399.
$399, yeah, something like that.
And they
And-
also announced
It was
the new
actually
version of
only
the doorbell.
It'd be
Yeah.
good if it was only actually $399. That'd be really cheap, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if
Rather
you
than
get 3.
$399.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so the
That'd
only
be a
thing I don't
bargain.
like about those is because, like, the previous generation that I have sitting here, doubles as a speaker, so you can actually play music on it. But so I'm thinking, hey, if I get this, I might as well, sell this other, 3-pack that I have. But I don't know, or else have all 6 in my home and be blasted in Wi-Fi.
I am actually still using my first generation Google Wi-Fi's,
You have
and
the
I've
first one?
not had it. Yeah, I have no
I don't-
issues with them. So
Yeah.
I
like,
don't
I
have
have
any
no need
to
Google
upgrade.
Wi-Fi's. Mine are other ones, and my only Google speaker is a very old Google Home Mini from 2018 or something. But then I
Yeah, if
bought
it's-
so I
I've got
had
as well.
a Sonos soundbar since then, which has Google on there as well. And then I've got it on my phone, so I haven't felt the need for a new one, because I bought another Wi-Fi system from one of the UK network
Yeah. I go through,
landline network
I
providers.
go through routers a lot, and
Yeah.
the last 3 or 4 years, I've gone through like 5 different routers. Finally settling on Google
What,
Mesh.
are they stored on your desk? Does your desk have some
Well,
weird effect on them?
I give a lot to. I think I only have maybe 2 left that are. I think I have the Nighthawk, from the Netgear people. That's the other one that I have left, and I think I have another one from, I don't remember, maybe Linksys, like a
Well, yours says
Velop or
Google.
something.
Yours says Google Fi, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Or
no,
Google
that's
Fi.
that.
Google
Yeah,
Fi, because
yeah.
it loves
It's
me.
Fee. We love Fee.
Yeah, yeah. That's why you
So
can't forget me.
no, it would be a travesty to forget Fee. So, but those are some of the things hardware-wise that Google rolled out for this Google Meet event, and so look forward to our unboxings coming up. Maybe next week, God willing.
But basically, phone-wise, incremental rather than revolutionary, do we think? The verdict, if I was going to
Yeah.
ask you to, yeah.
To me, that's what it sounds like.
New processor better than the previous processor, and most
So it's going to be
especially,
faster.
yeah.
Same RAM,
Um,
though, on both devices.
Yeah, same
Both
storage.
Same as
Yeah.
Same
what,
storage,
the
yeah.
6.
And same
Same
price.
same main
8012.
same main
Yeah.
camera, although they've
Yeah.
upgraded the front-facing camera and the telephoto lens, and I think even the wide angle is upgraded.
The wide
You
angle
haven't.
was upgraded.
Mhm.
I'm afraid you haven't. You've lost the
No,
game. You
it's
haven't sold it to
Yorlingtons.
me. You haven't sold it to me, I'm afraid.
No, Mariam, it's
But-
Yorlingtons, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't contain my excitement. I think you can feel it,
I'm happy genuinely now, I'm not being sarcastic. I'm happy for people who need a new phone and get one and enjoy it, but I won't be
Just
Yeah,
buying
no,
one.
see this one.
It's not bad.
Just
It's
don't
an
get this
okay
one.
phone, but also because you talked about the watch, and for it to be that expensive, I don't think I'm getting more like any more features that I would need to pay for all that money for.
Well, things like Face ID and fingerprint ID, I've had that for the last 5 years. I don't really know.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me though, I should mention, it was cracking me up how Google was throwing shade at Apple during the event. They mentioned that they were flattered when other companies emulate their features on their phone, and that they gave a couple examples of how the Pixel 2 had always on display, and their Pixel phones have had car crash detection for 3 years now, which those are like,
But yeah, Apple
for
have
people
just
who don't-
announced that
yeah,
as if it was their
those
new
were like
idea,
two of the
haven't
big
they?
announcements. Yeah.
And we now turn our attention to the confused screen reader, and that's CSR. And Miriam is standing by to bring us one of those entries in her series of the CSR and its gestures.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of CSR's Basics. In this episode, we're going to be talking about some amazing features that I think might be useful to so many users, hopefully. We're going to cover today quick browsing and what it does and how we can use it and why it can be actually useful to us. We're also going to talk about the content filtering setting, which is one of the most useful features that CSR provides. Also, we're going to cover what they call like how to assign a gesture to open a certain app, which is, I think, such a cool feature. We've covered per app gestures before, which basically are gestures that only work in certain apps, but today we're going to be talking about how to actually assign a gesture to open a certain application, which is one of the most amazing features that CSR provides. Alright, so first off, let's start with the content filtering setting. And I would like to actually say that this feature is actually in the full version of the app only. If you are a free user, if you use the free version of the app, it's not actually available to you, unfortunately. However, you can always use the dictionary filtering to filter things out if you want. Or you can use the list browsing, by the way. So what is content filtering, first of all? Content filtering, basically, it filters out every, useless thing that might make the web page a little bit sluggish or laggy, which would actually lead to a little bit of sluggishness when it comes to the screen reader or the use of it. So sometimes if you are browsing a web page and there are lots of graphics or advertisements that have lots of graphics, it would make the use of your phone a little bit sluggish or laggy for some reason, which would result in, it'll feel so heavy to use, and you won't be able to move easily. However, if you enable the content filtering thing, it won't really be a problem, and you can actually use the web page in an easier way. So I'm going to demonstrate both content filtering, which is the paid feature in the full version of the app, and also if you don't have the paid full version, what you can do. First of all, we need to actually enable this feature. How we can do that? We need to go to program settings. So
1:40 a.m. Stop button.
We need to open the main menu, down and right.
Main menu.
And then program settings.
Extensions. Program settings. Content filtering set
And
back button.
Okay.
Reading settings.
So
back button. G-Show Plus.
we are here
feedback
in
settings.
the main window of the program settings. We need what it's called reading settings. By the way, in the earlier versions of the app, it was called content presentation settings. But of course, after the all the updates and all that, its title has changed. So we are looking for the reading settings.
Operations. Reading settings. Reading setting.
All
reading
right.
settings.
Here we're looking for the filter, the content filtering settings.
Navigate use the user content filtering settings.
There you go.
Content filtering settings.
Right.
Content blacklist. Enabling this option might help fixing errors related to adding custom labels.
Okay, so custom labels, we've actually talked about that before, if you remember. Labeling buttons. Sometimes if you have a blacklist of labeled buttons and you want the screen reader to filter it out, you can actually check that checkbox and it'll do it for you. Apparently there's a problem with that. I honestly have not experienced that. I don't have any blacklisted labeled buttons, so I don't really have much of a background on this. However, it's there for you to try out. If you want me to look more into this, let me know and I'll be happy to do it for you. Okay, we're looking for
filter unwanted controls checkbox checked.
This one is already checked by default, so we'll leave it on.
Filter images on web pages checkbox unchecked. Controls whether images that don't contain the alternative descriptions should be filtered.
Right, so here it talks about those graphics that don't have alternative text to them, which basically are not really described, so you don't really need them. They won't be useful to you, and they would make browsing actually more difficult and complicated. So in that case, if you actually check this box, it'll be a little bit different, right? So first of all, we need to take a look at the web page that we have first before filtering it out, right? So
Recents button.
go to
G-Show Plus. Voice Chrome.
Chrome. I have a web page open already.
Chrome. More options button. Space. Links. Headings.
We go to heading just to go to the beginning of the article.
First Android 13 screenshot spotted. It's so colorful. Heading 1.
All right, that's a heading. We're going to move just right, swipe right.
2 minutes. 9. 0 link. Save to pocket link.
That's not really any graphics.
Authored by Spore. 8 months ago. Android Pit Brazil Carnival 5448 as first Android 13 screenshot spotted. It's so colorful graphic.
That's a graphic, and it's actually described, right? So it has an alternative text to it. However,
Copyright Next Pit by Irina Avramova. The extremely flexible, customizable design of the interface is a big topic in Android 12 link. And judging by the initial screenshots and reports, Google will explore the idea even further in Android 13. See and judge for yourself.
So that's all like written content.
Advertisement third party at content region.
Right. This here is an advertisement, right? So
Next, pit logo wide on transparent background graphic.
this is an alternative text describe when.
Next pit. Space. Unable to play media video.
Right, there's a video.
124.1K. For out. Apple iPhone 14 graphic.
This is also described when.
Now playing. For out. Apple's event iPhone 2022 highlights and lowlights graphic. A Medfit GTR4 and GTS4 hands-on graphic. Arrow left. Number sign. One icon created with sketch graphic. Arrow right. Number sign. One icon created with sketch graphic. Space. TL. DR. Ryan covered L. Blind Android users. Book titles to read. TL. DR. Android 13 is supposed to offer more dynamic background design.
Right, so if you can see here.
A Medfit GTR iPhone 2022 highlight. A Medfit GTR4 and GTS4 hands-on graphic.
So there are like weird ones in here. So basically, we'll go and turn the content filtering on. Why? Because once we do so, it will actually filter all the images and graphics that don't have alternative text. And that way, we will know which images do have alternative text and which images are just labeled labeling button, like labeling names. Because basically, sometimes you can have like a graphic, it's actually written like in weird numbers and letters and all that, and you won't know like what the hell is that. And it makes things a little bit sluggish because it's also a load on the TTS engine, which, by the way, is a huge part of why sometimes web browsing can be a little bit sluggish. Okay, so let's go and turn the content filtering on.
Recents button. 1. Chrome. G Show Plus.
Settings again.
Content filter images on web pages. Filter strict web filter images on web pages. Checkbox unchecked controls whether images that don't contain the alternative
This
descriptions
one?
should be filtered.
Right, so we're going to check this one.
Checkbox checked.
This here.
Strict web content filter checkbox unchecked controls whether the non-Chinese content should be filtered out while browsing web pages.
Right, so I think this is more like for Chinese users that don't want any other content except for like Chinese content to be shown on web pages or anything like that.
Content filtering settings.
And actually, this is the end of the settings, the content filtering settings. Now let's go back to like the page.
Back button.
But first,
Reading settings.
okay.
Recents button. 1. G Show Plus. Chrome.
Right.
Chrome.
We go by heading again to the beginning of the article.
Space. First Android 13 screenshot spotted. It's so colorful. Heading 1.
Okay, let's go the same path. Take the same path.
2 minutes. 9. 0 link. Save to pocket link. Authored by Steph Orb. 8 months ago. First Android 13 screenshot spotted. It's so colorful graphic.
This one has an alternative text, so it's still here. It's not filtered out, right?
Copyright next pitch by Irina Avramova. The extremely flexible, customizable design of the interface is a big topic in
That's a written content.
Android 12 link. And judging by the initial screenshots and
Awesome.
advertisement third party at content region.
Okay, the ad.
Graphic.
As you can tell, this graphic doesn't have an alternative text. So it only says graphic, basically. It doesn't say like any weird numbers or like any weird content, letters, those things that when the web browser tries like to try to describe the imagery, but obviously it doesn't because it's a weird advertisement. So it just says graphic because, again, if it doesn't and it has like a weird name to it, weird labeling to it, it will make things more a bit more sluggish, and it will make the TTS engine a little bit laggy. So this makes the process easy for you. All right. Okay. So this was content filtering. But again, this is a feature for anyone who has the full version of the app. Now, what if you don't have the full version of the app and you're on a web page that contains so many graphics and you want a way around, right? Like you just want to figure it out. what you can do is basically,
First Android 13 screenshot spotted. It's so colorful. Heading 1.
okay, I'm just got I got back to the beginning of the page. So, and actually this is a way to like deal with any screen that's a little bit laggy or sluggish. What you do basically, you use something called list browsing. So how you can go like access that, you open the main menu.
Main menu. Main voice assistant extensions program setting extension disables voice assist read the whole list browsing,
And there it is. Or you can also actually like assign a gesture for it, by the way. So let's open that.
grant list browsing, Chrome list browsing,
Right, tells you Chrome list browsing.
first Android 13 screenshot tech and community,
And you basically
tech and community,
have
next pit
everything else
to the
here.
next pit homepage, next pit 0 search, login news,
Right, and you can click on any item of it, and it's a little bit lighter, it's a little bit like quicker to navigate. It's awesome.
jobs,
You also have,
Chrome list
by
browsing.
the way, the right down corner. You do that, you will find
cancel button, edit button,
the edit button,
default button,
and default.
refresh button, scroll down button unavailable, refresh button,
Refresh if you want to refresh, because obviously you can be on a home page and you want to refresh the whole menu, the whole list.
scroll down button
So you can
unavailable,
scroll down.
scroll up button unavailable,
It's unavailable because obviously there are no other pages in that article.
smartphone, jobs,
Yeah,
jobs,
and you can do that. You can also navigate by
labels, default,
paragraph,
screen, OT volume, copy, page, headings, lines,
lines,
headings,
headings. It's obviously paragraphs, but it's mistranslated.
line, words,
Words.
characters,
You can basically do any of that. So list browsing is an awesome way to deal with any screen that could be a little bit complex or complicated.
words,
Right.
jobs,
Let's
jobs,
if you want to get out of it, just
first Android 13 jobs, smartphone, default button,
hit the cancel button.
edit button, cancel button,
Right there. Okay, so right now I'm going to be talking about the quick browsing. What is quick browsing? Quick browsing basically is a way for you to navigate the screen, to move around the screen easily. Sometimes you want to just have an overview of the whole screen and you want to navigate things quickly, to like access a certain part of the screen or do anything like
back
that.
button,
So basically, how you can access quick browsing. There are two ways that you can do that. You can either assign a gesture for it, or you can, we can open the main menu, right and then down, down and then right, excuse me.
main menu,
And then, if you're using the default, custom gesture scheme, just,
main menu,
you can swipe down, okay, and then swipe left
more button, cancel button, share logs,
for
virtual navigation, detailed focus capturing, quick browsing,
6 times. You find 6 or 5 times until you find quick browsing. So quick browsing is a little bit different in a way that, if you want to like navigate certain things, there are certain gestures. Basically, there are no gestures, but it's not as like explore by touch or anything like that. So let's turn it on. It is turned on already now. Doesn't say anything, but it is. Basically, you can scroll on the screen without lifting your finger off of the screen. You can just navigate, hold your finger down and start moving around the screen until you found the item that you're looking for. And then you swipe in any direction with 2 fingers and it's going to click that button or trigger that item you are the cursor is focused on. So let's just, so basically if we go to the home screen,
home button, one UI home, back button, one UI home, messages, internet camera,
I'm now holding my finger down and moving around the screen.
internet, messages, internet, phone, camera, so Galaxy Bud, quick control, contacts, Social media and communication. Folder.
For
11
instance,
notifications.
I want to open this folder. This is like my social media folder that contains like Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, and so on. I can just swipe with 2 fingers any direction.
Folder opened. Page 1 of 1.
As you can tell, or as you can hear, it actually told me that the folder is open, and it also made the sound of like clicking. I can still move around with quick
Home
browsing.
screen. Page. Social media and communication. Folder. 11 notifications.
And it's open. Right?
Social media and communication. Folder. 11 notifications. Back button. Active noise cancelling.
So basically, I need also to say that the navigation bar,
Back button.
which is like the back home and recents if you're using that one, or the notification shade is out of those 2 ones are out of the process. So once you go to the notification shade, the quick browsing won't work because sometimes people, like, if they get stuck or turn it on by accident, they don't know how to get out of it. If the back and home buttons and like the navigation bar is actually hidden, they will be stuck. So I think that's actually a great idea, from the developer. Now, also, the menus of the app are out of the quick browsing mode as well. So once you open the main menu, all the gestures, by the way, work.
Main menu.
Open
Main
the
menu.
main menu. They will still work. If you hold
Notification
your
box.
finger down on the
This
screen,
notification box.
it won't work. The quick browsing won't work. And I think it's also a great idea because if you turned it on by accident and you're stuck, you can just open the main menu and turn it off back again. So, by the way, that's how you can turn quick browsing off. You open the main menu
Goodreads application.
and
More button.
hit the more button or swipe left.
Main menu.
Sorry,
Main
swipe
menu.
down. And then until you find
More cancel. Virtual detailed focus. Quick browsing.
quick browsing. And yay, it's actually off again. Right, so this is how quick browsing works. I think it's a great idea, because in that case, navigating the screen would be like much easier. It's actually pretty close to like what sighted people do. Sighted people don't really scroll through the whole screen, swipe and swipe. They basically move their eye around until they find the item they're looking for, and then they just lift their fingers, or they actually look at the screen and they touch the item that they want to they like click on the item that they want to open, which is, I think, it's pretty close to it, right? Okay, so now we're going to be talking about how to assign a gesture to open an app, which is, I think, a great feature as well. So go to the main menu. I think this is basically where we go all the
157
time.
recents button. Main menu. Main menu.
It's again down and right.
Voice assistant.
Just a reminder.
Extensions. Program
Settings.
Reading settings.
We are on the reading settings because we were here before when we were talking about content filtering.
Back button.
Go back.
G Show Plus. Feedback settings.
And we're looking for we're actually looking for the general settings.
TT general settings. G Show Plus. Setup. TTS. G Show. TTS. TT. Read usage hints. Read the automatic inverts. Use custom G Show. Custom gesture scheme settings.
Yes, we're looking for custom gesture scheme settings.
Custom. Close. Custom. Save button. Share button. More options button. Up gesture default.
Okay, you basically here have all the gestures that the app has. Pretty much every single gesture.
Down gesture default.
Down.
Swipe left default.
Swipe left.
Swipe right default.
Swipe right.
Left and right gesture function monitor the currently focused element.
Those are things that I've assigned myself.
Right and left gesture function actions. Up and down gesture default. Down and up gesture default. Left and up gesture function notification bar. Left and down gesture default. Right and up gesture default. Right and down gesture default. Up and left gesture default.
Okay, I'm just trying to look for one.
Up and right gesture default. Down and left gesture default.
Okay. Well, okay, so let's maybe pick
Down and right gesture default. Down and left gesture default.
the down and left one. I don't think I have it like it's actually assigned for, by default, it's assigned for the voice assistant that comes with the screen reader. Right, so basically, we're going to open that one.
Down and left
So
gesture.
once you pick the gesture you want, go into, click on it.
Default checked.
It's checked, the default, if you want to get it back to default.
No command unchecked.
No command if you don't want it to do anything, basically.
Plugins unchecked.
Plugins. If you have a certain plugin that you want to assign it, we actually had covered that before.
Custom voice commands unchecked.
Custom voice commands. We have also talked about that before in an earlier episode. You can definitely find that either on our YouTube channel, or you can also definitely find it if you listen to the podcast through any podcatcher.
Tools unchecked.
The tools also you can assign for a tool.
Application unchecked.
And we're looking for application. Okay, so once we hit that button,
Check application.
checkbox, whatever you want to call it,
Amazing MP3 recorder.
it basically opens, gives you a list of every single app you have on your phone.
Amazon shopping. Android Auto. Amazon shopping.
Okay, let's for instance pick Amazon.
Custom. Down and right gesture default. Down and left gesture application Amazon shopping.
As you can tell, it's now assigned for Amazon.
Up and down and left gesture application Amazon shopping.
So let's do it. Let's see if it will work or not.
Back
just
button.
get back.
G-Shula. Saved.
Just
G-Shula
for it,
Plus.
as you can tell, you have to go back for it to be saved. Now let's do down and left.
مساعد الجارد. Search Prime link.
Oh,
Your Salk is now Amazon Makeup Watches graphic.
it actually it's
Click
it's
here
open.
link. Prime link.
I don't know why I didn't say anything, but let's go to home screen and do it again, by the way. Let's see.
Home button. One UI camera.
Okay, so down and right. Down and left. Excuse me.
Amazon shopping.
Oh, yes. Okay, there you go. But just because it didn't announce anything, I thought I would do it again, so you'd be sure that it actually worked. So basically, that's how you do it. It's actually easy. It's good, amazing. Can be if you have a certain app that you want to go to real quick, that can be helpful. Also for people who use magnification, I think if you want to magnify anything, you want to go to the magnifier real quick, the camera, you basically have every single app installed. You can assign a gesture to open that app. For instance, I have one for my Goodreads app, because I use Goodreads a lot to track, to keep track of my books and what I read and what I'm currently reading, what I want to read and all that. So I just do the gesture that I assigned for it, and it actually opens the app right away, which is, I think, really cool. That's it for today's episode. I hope it was useful and helpful. I hope I was able to demonstrate things, well for you. If you have any questions, definitely don't hesitate to reach me out at contactus@blindandroidusers.com. I hope you liked this episode, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Mariam. Even though I don't care about confused screen readers,
No.
but frankly, a lot of people like it, and we're so thankful to you for doing these things. And guys, always tune in to Mariam's series on the CSR project. And now we turn our attention to our friend Milosz, who is going to be telling us all about his Android journey. My friend, welcome to the Blind Android Users Podcast. This is probably my most important, most favorite segment of the podcast or episode every time that we have one. And I'm so thankful to you for coming on here today.
Episode, of course.
Of course. So Miriam has to put in that CSR, the confusing.
Yeah, it's your
screen reader.
favorite.
But frankly, I'm so thankful that we have you coming on to talk about your Android journey story, a segment that is my favorite. So, Milosz, welcome to Blind Android Users Podcast. Go ahead, my friend, and tell us about your Android journey story.
I am Milosz, known as VIP potato in some communities. And my Android journey started from a Chinese PSP knockoff, which was like a game emulator all in one. And it was like in 2014. And it was running Android 4.0.4. And since it had a D-pad, I was only using that. I didn't use the touch screen because it was hard back then. And yeah, I was just doing different stuff there. Then in 2016, I've got for a few months a very cheap Prestigio phone running on Android 4.2.2. It wasn't much better because it had only 150 megabytes of memory, and back then apps were taking much more. So I couldn't install even updates for stock apps like Google or YouTube. No, there wasn't even a YouTube app, so I was forced to use a browser. And then at the end of 2016, I've got my Galaxy S7, and that was a really good phone for me, one of the best ones. It had everything I needed, and yeah. Then in 2019, no, not in 2019, it was a year ago, after my Galaxy was, yeah, it kind of broke because it got like curved. And then I've got a Huawei P30 Lite, which for me was a terrible phone because the launcher wasn't accessible for me, so I had to buy a Nova launcher. And now, a few months ago, I've bought a used Galaxy S10, which also was a really great phone, and in my opinion, one of the last great phones from Samsung, flagship phones, because it still had mini jack and SD card slot. I mean, S20 FE had that too, but it's just not a main flagship phone. Like, so yeah. And later I've switched to a 52s 5G, which is also good. And yeah, now I also got a Galaxy Watch 4, and I am really happy with it.
I love that you seem to be a Samsung fan, because I am a huge Samsung fan. However, even though I was really mad at them when they removed the SD card slot, so I agree with you on that. But I want to ask you, because all of us as Android users have funny stories to tell. So what is your funniest story since you've used Android? Did you face probably a weird situation where you should have acted a little bit differently, but you didn't? Any funny story to tell? It's always fun.
Yeah, so back in 2016, I was still a kid, and when I had that Prestigio phone, in the stock internet browser, on different websites, you get that scam pop-ups when the alarm yells, this alarm siren yells from your speaker, and it said that you have millions of viruses and you have to press OK, then scan your device. And I've once pressed it, and yeah, it turned out
Oh my God,
badly.
yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. That makes two of us.
Did you have to reset your whole phone after that?
Yeah, and it was the worst thing because in Android 4.2 you didn't have an accessibility shortcut, and also that phone didn't have TalkBack built in. And also,
No, I remember those days.
and also at the first day when I got that phone, because I've got it after my sister, I didn't have TalkBack because I didn't have internet access at that time. So I went with it to school, and I was just using it, I've remembered where everything is positioned on the screen, and I was calling people like that way, and I was answering by sliding my finger to the right, and it was
Oh
pretty
wow.
hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to use that for like 2 days, and then my friend installed TalkBack for me. So yeah,
That
That's
happened to
actually
me.
impressive that you could learn where to press for different things for a day or
Yeah,
two.
this actually like I feel like it's an advantage of old phones because you basically didn't have anything, just limited options. So that's why like you knew where everything is. It was pretty cool that way.
speaking of Samsung, I really like the idea of like you have everything stored on your SD card, and you don't have to bother with Samsung Smart Switch or everything like that. You just take off your pull out your SD card and you move it to your new phone, and you have all your files with you.
Taking away the SD card is a great way of Samsung shooting themselves in the foot, because it's one of the things they had that Google phones haven't.
Yeah, but
So I'd like them to bring it back. I don't think they will, but I'd like that.
the thing is, I still remember when they were making fun of Apple about the mini jack, and
Yeah,
yeah,
and then they did the same exact thing.
There's something you mentioned earlier, and that was the fact that we, especially for phones that were not, made for the Western world or whatever, Chinese phones that just did not have accessibility in them, that was quite a challenge. And of course, even phones that were made to include the Western world, accessibility was a little bit hazy, wasn't it? Most especially if you miss enabling that accessibility during that first boot up, then of course you have to have someone help you go turn it on. And so when we had that ability of first enabling accessibility upon the first boot up, I think that was like, you know, uh, giving us a pie back then. I remember my ice cream device, and I tried that angle thing, drawing a rectangle, and I didn't quite get it. And so I just wound up just having someone enable accessibility for me after the setup and all of that. But then Jelly Bean was that revolutionary thing where we were able to use that two finger hold down. And I was so excited. I got the Nexus 4, I got the Google 7 tablet. I was just crazy, back in 2012. I went for both of those things, and it was so exciting. And so it's nice to hear your struggles and challenges that you had back then. And so now, which one is your current flagship, or I mean, driving main driver? You seem to have a bunch of them now that you have gotten the Android goodness, and you have gone to town. You are telling us earlier on how you have a collection of LG phones and stuff like that. Which one is now your main driving phone?
my main driving phone is now Galaxy A52s 5G.
Good. You kind of prefer that over the LG phones.
No, I didn't say that. If LG would still make phones, I would get them.
It's like you said the worst thing possible to them, like the absolute worst thing. Oh no.
Well, some people love LG phones, and LG had all kinds of idea. I think they were the only company that was not afraid to try new things. Um,
Yeah,
and
that's
I
why
think
they
that,
failed.
yes, and I don't think that that's really what made them fail. I think that what really made them fail is because I don't think LG was pricing its things right. They kept wanting to be like Samsung, and you're not Samsung. It's just they didn't want to stick it to the competition to Samsung. Say, okay, you're pricing yours at 800. Here, you get ours for $500. I mean, Samsung was established, and of course, LG was established as well. Frankly, if we're to be honest, I don't know who came first. I had an LG flip phone as early as like maybe 2004 or 2005. And it was good. It didn't, speak, but I could navigate like the ringtones on my own and things like that. And I thought that was really good.
Yeah, speaking of ringtones, since like I'm an established musician, a professional musician, I really loved LG's. I still do, by the way. LG's ringtones and notifications. They were always unique in some way, so that's like a bonus point. I mean, Samsung does pretty cool things, but yeah, it's just and I feel like the way they marketed this stuff was not really correct. Like they should have. I mean, any company who's like who's not Samsung basically or anything like that. They should just make the phones a little bit cheaper, and that's a point about Google too. And then when they start selling things, there people get excited. They can actually make it more expensive, right? But walk before you run, right? They call it that way.
It's like
Exactly.
Huawei, their phones are really expensive, aren't they? as
Yeah, and
well?
Huawei stuff. The earbuds are way more expensive than Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro. And I'm telling you, if I'm buying, and that's what I did. If I'm purchasing new earbuds, I won't go for Huawei. I will go for Samsung because I trust Samsung more, right?
Yeah,
So it's just a little bit weird to me.
it's strange, isn't it?
Uh,
Yeah.
Recently, LG has released in South Korea, of course, only a forever like collection of their ringtones because they know people like them. So they made vinyl sets with that ringtones, and they're almost all of their life is good ringtones, which I really love. So I've got that somehow, and yeah.
I need you to send that to me. I love this stuff. Like
There you
it's
go.
I love them. Like they're always so unique and different than anything else.
I also like them like changing different stuff that Talkback said, uh like different stuff were like said differently. Like you didn't have recent apps but recent screens. You didn't have screen lock but unlock cancelled or something like that.
Yeah, that's basically in the UI. That's the system. You usually get that in the system. That's not really a talkback thing.
Yeah, but I didn't see other manufacturers doing that. So
Yeah, because for the most part, Samsung does their own tweaks, but at the same time, they have like mostly a stock Android. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Miwash, for coming on today and talking about your Android journey. And we're looking forward to seeing you come back during our celebration. And again, we appreciate you for coming on.
of course
Yeah.
I'll do it. It was a fun time here.
Yeah, we were definitely honored to have you. And for everyone, invitations are for free. I mean, unless you don't use CSR, they're not. They have to pay $5 to get in.
She's got to push that CSR confusing screen reader in there.
Mm,
Confused screen
No,
reader.
We
it's
can't
not.
even get through an Android journey segment without her pushing CSR.
Exactamundo.
Come on, it's worth it, isn't it? Like,
Will we get a CSR when we buy tickets?
sorry.
Yeah, you will be standing in line for tickets to, get CSR. Confused
Yeah,
screen
of
reader.
course. No, it's
It's
called
just the free
comment-
version of it that you get though.
No, I want the premium version.
Oh well, yeah. I can offer like 2 probably or something. But I mean, if you have to be using the screen reader for 3 years to get that.
Oh, I mean, I can't even afford one, so it's still good. So you can pay for mine.
Oh, okay. You're trying to reason with me now. I'll think about it because you don't use it right now. So
I am willing to switch from Talkback if you'll do that.
you're willing. Okay.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. But like, if you do that, now people will say like, okay, he's been using it for only 1 year. Why? Like, did you put this condition? Won't be fair, wouldn't it?
That would bring us to the close of today's episode. And our friend Austin, even though he's not here today, will somehow give you a way to get in touch with us. And here is Austin to give us that closing remarks on how to get a hold of us.
Austin, where can people find us?
For people to locate us, they can email us with their questions or feedback or comments or recording submissions to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. They can browse our website, blindandroidusers.com. Check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/blindandroidusers. Subscribe to our mailing list, Blind Android Users, plus subscribe at groups.io. The links for Telegram and Twitter, Clubhouse will be in the show notes with all the other links. So that is it from us this week.
And that's it for today's episode. We're looking forward to seeing you next week, most especially when we'll do some of those unboxings, hopefully. And from me, it's goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. See you next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to another clip from the Blind Android Users channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you're notified of every new material that we upload. Thanks again for listening to the Blind Android Users channel.